I'm going to be honest with you guys. When I heard that TNA was getting a general manager back, I wasn't happy. I did not want to see TNA with another general manager. I was enjoying seeing it without them. But TNA is no different than WWE, so eventually they were going to do a manager. Well, a general manager, you know. I'll admit, I was very afraid that it could have been Eric coming back, or it could have been Hulk coming back as the face, as the general manager. Because every time when they come into the show becomes shit. But they picked Bully Ray. Now, it kind of makes sense because Bully Ray was a special guest referee a couple of months back. And it kind of fits his personality a little bit. Because Bully Ray is not the one that kind of fits the mold of normal people. Taking away from Immortals, taking away from how Aces and Eights were, if you just see Bully Ray as Bully Ray, it kind of makes sense they wanted a no-nonsense guy that didn't take shit from nobody. At least until he turned into a heel. And we'll probably get that eventually. He will turn back to heel, and we will have the same thing as we did with a MVP. Unless they're going to just let him stay as he is, and then eventually let him leave. Now, you guys tell me if I'm right or not. As Bully Ray was walking around the ring, when they came up to Velvet, they cut that shit quick. My feeling is they didn't want to show the heavy interaction between them because they are together. He gave up his wife for Velvet Sky in real life. So I think they wanted to make sure they didn't really correspond their interaction with each other. I have a feeling he smacked her on the ass if he had the chance. To be honest, with that ass, the way Velvet is in real life, she's supposedly a very nice person. She's damn cute with a great set, even if they're fake. I'd smack her ass too. No offense, ladies. But she's a beautiful woman. If you're the type that likes her type, you're going to do what you normally do. You're going to be rough with her and smack her on the butt. I'm just saying. But I'll say this about what he did in the ring. Did he sound long-winded? Yes, he did. Did he sound long-winded with Dixie Carter? Yes, he did. But at least he was long-winded in the respect that he talked about the history. Now, we don't even get that from WWE. And it was long-winded, but I was alright with it. When it came to him trying to put over the fans and put over the wrestlers, saying, "You're not below me. Get the fuck up onto the ring apron." I'll say that was a nice touch because WWE barely did that themselves. And when it came to most of the show, Bully Ray tried to put people over. He did what he could for EC3. He really tried his best to put over Rockstar Spud, but that really could not help. And I'll say this. If he stays as he is and doesn't interact much in the ring, I'll be alright with it as long as he only comes out when he needs to. Let him stay in the back. Show only a few clips of him once every show. I say about 2 or 3 clips. That's it. Only let him come out when it's important. Just like Kurt Angle. He only came out when it was important. He stayed in the back and told them what the fuck to do. As long as they do it like that, I have no problem. Now let's get to the X Division match with Guido, Ion, Uno, and Spud. Like I said, Spud was talked and mentioned by Bully Ray to try and put him over. He didn't do that bad of a job, but let's be honest here. Even if he did an expert job, the X Division is too weak. And that's my problem. The matches with the X Division is good. But the problem is that there's no storyline. And worse yet, they only cart them out when they want to do an X Division title match. If they didn't do an X Division title match and gave us more time to see them and maybe give them some more character development like they did with Spud, I would be alright seeing them. But as they are now, I don't give a damn. And I'm going to say this about Guido, whatever the fuck. Guido got shot first. That was the thing I thought about Guido. Because he's the type of person that's with Han Solo and he's trying and screw him over, but Han shoots him first and gets rid of his ass. He may be an important character, but he got beaten by an extremely important character in a Han Solo. Now, Guido came out in some nice music as he's been doing, but I don't give a fuck about him. And TNA seemed to be smack dab loving him. The commentary team kind of loves him, and I don't like that. From what I understand about British Boot Camp 2, it makes no difference if he has a whole bunch of Twitter followers and Facebook followers and Instagram followers if you still follow Facebook. I know people still follow Tumblr and Instagram. I don't really care about him. Because he didn't do anything in British Boot Camp 2. But did he do a decent job in the ring? He tried to be entertaining. So I'll give him that. But it does not mean I was thoroughly entertained. He tried to entertain the crowd. The crowd did go for him a little bit. The people cared more about Zema Ion than anyone else. I mean, they still care about Spud. But Zema Ion is the one I feel that the crowd really wants to see get the title. And I'm not taking anything against Tigre Uno. He's a great wrestler. And he does have a certain following. But because he has no storyline, we got nothing there. And then you're going to have him try and say something about, why are you involving Donald Trump in this? Please, TNA, please don't. Don't. Just make him say it once and just drop it. Yeah, it would be interesting to have Donald Trump on the show, but if it ain't going nowhere, just drop it. Next, we have the interview segments, and there were a lot of them. There were only 4 matches on the show, but the interview segments were actually pretty good. The Anderson segment was actually very good with Mike Tenay. I did like it. The interview segment with, who was it? The Dollhouse wasn't too bad. But I really felt that Drew's segment, even though it was short, was very well done with the person that will be mentioned at the end of this review, Eli Drake. I don't know why I said Eric. Eli Drake. I always said there was something about him, and I will finish it up at the end of this review. But we got more interview segments than we normally do. And I think that wasn't a bad thing. Even if they were very short, that was actually pretty good. We don't get that many interview segments with the WWE that mean anything. So these actually did. Now the Angle in-ring segment. There's some heavy shit. If he truly does have a tumor in his neck, I truly hope he's alright. As a person, he's alright. As a guy who's in the wrestling business, he's very talented. But he can still fuck you over when he needs to. But I don't want to see anybody with a tumor because that's bullshit. Nobody needs to have a tumor. And I'm hoping he's alright. But I will say this. He did the business. Even though it was not good business, he still did the business. He spoke the way he did. He can still have a rematch, particularly that he's got on this side, the tumor in his neck. Hopefully he comes back alright after the surgery. And it's not one of those active tumors. It's more of a inactive one. They just take it out and he's perfectly fine. But here's the thing. When Eli, that's what I was thinking about that moment a few moments ago. When Eli came out to take credit for it, I didn't know how to feel about it because it was an actual thing. But what they did afterward, I'll say makes sense. These two had a very strong rivalry, even if it wasn't a very good rivalry. And before he's got to leave, he's got to get his ass kicked. So instead of being like a Daniel Bryan or someone like that, who does have a debilitating injury and a problem where they got to go away, in this case, Kurt Angle did the business and tried to put over a Eli properly so Chris Melendez can come out and they could have the rivalry right back then. I know a lot of people are going to say, dude, it wasn't necessary. This isn't a very strong feud. I know it's not. If they were going to make this a strong feud between the two of these pain in the asses, and I'm talking about Chris Melendez and Eli, Eli should have took his fucking leg when he won the fucking match. If you're going to go there and take it the first time, he should have took the leg the second time. And then when they have another match, he needs to take the leg again and beats his ass with it. If you're going to get Chris Melendez on TV and really get him over, you're going to have to go to the extreme with this guy because no one truly feels comfortable with him. It's not the fact that he has only one leg. he's too freaking green with almost no character development to go with that one leg. At least with Zach Gowen, you had a background when he went up against Vince McMahon, that he always wanted to be a wrestler. In his wish, and he didn't get anything from Make-A-Wish because he believed that he was going to survive, and he did. His true wish in life was to become a wrestler. And as far as I know, he still is wrestling. He had a storyline. Chris does not. And he's still botchy-ish in the ring, kind of botchy. And on top of that, ladies and gentlemen, he works with that leg. That is a obvious target that wrestlers need to just take and beat the shit out of him. Well, you know what I mean. They need to take his leg off when the match is over and beat the shit out of him with it. It is the only way to get him over. That people will be that cruel to beat him with his own leg. TNA, if you're going there with this guy, and I'm not against Chris Melendez, you need to go there all the way. Get Eli to take that leg after every freaking match and beat his ass with it. Now let's move on to the Knockouts Championship match between Brooke and Taryn Terrell. Am I happy to see Taryn Terrell lose the title? I think she had a little bit more mileage on the title. Honestly, I do believe she had some more mileage on it, but the problem was that there just wasn't enough people to work with her. Unless it was going to be Marty Bell and Jade eventually she was going to match against, she really has gone through everyone. So they really didn't have much of a choice but to kind of let the title drop to Brooke. But here's the thing. And I know the reason why Gail Kim came back the way she did. And if no one doesn't know, I'm going to say it. And I believe I'm right. But seeing that now she's going to face Gail Kim makes me very upset about Brooke. Because I don't believe they're going to spotlight Brooke or even promote her properly. Because they're going to focus on Gail Kim and Taryn Terrell. And Gail Kim is going to take out each member of the Dollhouse until she gets to Taryn Terrell, beats her, and then she's going to try and get the title back from possibly Brooke if Terrence doesn't get it back beforehand. But here's the thing. Here's what I believe the reason Gail Kim has come back the way she did. And when you looked at the video package for a Dollhouse, the only thing they showed was Gail Kim more than Terrence Terrell. This is about the announcement of the Hall of Fame. And if I'm wrong, fine, you guys can tell me if you know or not. I'd rather not know. But I believe the reason Gail Kim has been brought back the way she has and is being pushed so hard is because she's going to be possibly announced as the first woman wrestler in the TNA Hall of Fame. There's a good possibility, I believe, that she will be announced. Now, is that the right thing to do? Why not? She's been around nearly 16 years. She's been since 2000, 1999. So it's not like she hasn't been wrestling for a long time. She is the first women's she is the first Knockouts champion. She's won at least one title in the WWE, and that's the Women's Championship. Or at least once or twice, I believe. I can't remember. So it's not like she hasn't won titles anywhere like a Mickie Jane. Unless Mickie Jane is going into the TNA Hall of Fame, which I believe she should go first in the Gail Kim. But Gail is the first women's champion. So I would understand if it was her. But that's how I feel about it. Let me see, am I forgetting anything? I might as well get this over with. Oh, no. The Storm segment. Almost forgot. James Storm segment with what happened at Slammiversary wasn't so bad. But the woman I believe they're bringing back is possibly Tara. I believe it could be Tara. Because I don't think it's going to be Trish Stratus, and I don't think it's going to be Lita. I don't think they're going to call anyone out that really knows and Mickie Jane that well. That's just how I feel. But is the segment alright? It wasn't bad. But if you know who it could be, leave a comment below who you believe it is. And do you believe it's the right thing to have a mixed tag between these four? And that means Storm and whoever it is versus Magnus and Mickie Jane. I personally like to see Magnus and Mickie Jane together because they are engaged to be married. They have a kid together. And since and Mickie Jane will be heading off to Global Force Wrestling, and I am doing a video on that. It will be after this. Unfortunately, I had done it, but it's a little late. I like to see her do something before she goes to Global Force. Finally, the last two matches will be the Battle Royal and the Match of the Night, which was the World Television, well, I'm about to say World Television title, the World Heavyweight Championship. Was the Battle Royal alright? Yeah. I wasn't surprised they were going to do Battle Royal. They always do this with someone who's new in the authority. But I was surprised it was Drew. I'm not going to lie. I didn't expect him to be the one to get it. I thought maybe it might be a Austin Aries, a Robert Roode. Could have been the Abyss. I know that's kind of stretching with Abyss, but you get my point. It was Drew. So I was very happy to see that. And the match that followed it at the end of the show was good. I felt this was a trial run for Drew Galloway. Could the crowd get behind him? Now, it kind of felt a little weak because the crowds usually, they're double taped on a couple of days basis, and a lot of people come back to the same taping. So I believe the crowd was kind of burnt out after a couple of days of taping in the same place with the same people. But I do believe that Drew did get most of the crowd over. I mean, they did like him. They did embrace him. So he could become a credible champion. And I do believe that. But there's a person I believe that will become even a more credible champion. And that will be Eli Drake. I said this to people. I said this before and I say it again. Between Drew and Eli, I always had this feeling that Eli Drake had something a little bit more than Drew, even though he had very little exposure. And I do believe the reason that Drew's exposure that kind of dropped it for me was because he was jobbing so damn much. That was the problem. He was jobbing so much. I didn't feel right about Drew compared to Eli, who didn't job as much. And it's not that his accent is that thick that I can't talk as good as Eli Drake. I believe the reason that he just isn't as over as much as Eli Drake is because Eli just has a tendency to be a very strong heel. And Drew is not a heel. He's a face right now. If he became a sinister Scotsman like he did back in WWE, if he came out in a fucking kilt like an evil fucking Scotsman like I said he should be when he was in the WWE as Drew McIntyre, he would have fucking dominated like he did against Finlay. But we didn't get that from him. And here, I believe if the brass there realizes that if he embraces his heritage and be a fighting Scotsman, a sinister Scotsman like a Roddy Piper, he will fucking get the people behind him, no matter if he's a heel or he's a face. But right now, the one who is most spotlighted was Eli Drake. Hit him with the cane, well, not the cane, the crutch. And then he walks out of there normal, tears off, gotta stand up, throws it at him, and he walks away with the EC3 in the background looking back at him like, my money pays for protection. And that's how we end the show. It's all about Eli Drake dealing with a Drew Galloway. Is that good storytelling? It's short storytelling. Let's be honest here. They didn't show enough of Eli Drake to really give us something interesting between these two. And they're going to have to say something next week to really clearly make it understandable why Drake turned on Galloway. But the way Drake talks, I believe he could still get it over even though it's not going to be great. But it still will be something better than what we get from the WWE. I'm just saying. So I hope you enjoyed the Zane View. Please give me a comment below. My debate of the week on Global Force Wrestling taking a bite out of the NWA will be up possibly later tonight or tomorrow. I'm sorry it's late. Like I said, I've been trying to fix a computer to give it to somebody. And I've been trying to get my own computer online as well. So I hope you have a good day and have a good night. Peace!